The scenery outside reminds me of my pride, reminds me of my will. At the windowsill, I sit and see the grays, the children they all play and laugh amongst themselves. Somehow remind me of myself on the merry-go-round.
What is going on YouTube? It's Trev. It is very late on the East Coast of the United States on a Tuesday night. And for whatever reason, I decided to add my 2 cents to everything that's kind of going on right now with Terra Classic. So it's all over Twitter, it's all over Agora, it's all over Telegram, it's everywhere, right? The proposal, the spend proposal for Q2 for the L1 task force is being slaughtered. Since they posted it, it really hasn't been doing very well. Came out of the gate hard negative. And I've heard a lot of people still talking about, if it passes or if it doesn't pass. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm just going to call it and say, I'm going to call it. It's dead. Didn't pass, right? And I know it still has some time left. I know also that there is possibly, and some people have talked about this, so a mathematical path, I guess, where validators could go ahead and vote and possibly pass this thing, right? I haven't done the math personally, and honestly, I haven't even looked at where exactly we are over the past maybe 6 hours or so. But I guess there's a possibility that they could pass it, right? I don't see that happening. The validators haven't really been voting on a lot lately. There really hasn't been much engagement from them. I'm not sure really what that's about or what's going on. Laying low, maybe. I really don't know. I just don't see it happening. Even if it did happen, right? Let's say that last time I looked, it was like 67 something percent no, and then, throw in also some no's with vetoes and like maybe 20% yes or something, right? Let's say it did happen and the validators stepped in and all the validators voted, and they actually swung this thing over to the yes column and passed it. Here's what's going to happen. What we're going to hear from everyone is, well, it didn't get a community mandate. The community obviously was hard against this thing. It's the validators that maybe the validators were coerced or maybe whatever, promised this, that, the other thing. Whatever it is, they'll come up with reasons why the validators came in and saved this thing, but it's not really what the community wanted. And I mean, they'd be right. Looking at the vote right now, looking at the percentage, they'd be right. Is that a place that they really want to be? Do they want to pass this thing and go ahead with a Q2 funding that was decided by the validator set and not by the community? It's not optimal, right? Anyway, things are a mess, right? There's really no sugarcoating it. And I'll tell you all, same thing that I told Tobias and Steve a while ago. I have undelegated all of my LUNC. I didn't have a lot of it. I had like 20 million or something, right? I think I delegated like 17 million, and then it's built all this time up to like 20 some odd million, right? I undelegated them all. We know that there's a 21-day waiting period. I think I've got maybe 9 or 10 or 11 days left. I'm about halfway through it. So I undelegated it before this proposal was even submitted to station for vote, because I have been tossing back and forth where I really stand, where my faith, I guess, is anymore in this chain. And so I told myself this. I said, well, you know what? All right, it's 21-day grace period, so I'm going to undelegate. And by the end of that 21 days, I will decide what it is that I'm going to do with my LUNC. Now, sorry, I got something in my mouth. I'm not giving anybody financial advice. I don't want anybody to do anything according to the way I do it or just because I did it. I don't know that anybody would do that anyway, but I just feel like I want to say that. I'm not a financial advisor. Whatever moves I make aren't moves that necessarily you should follow. You should do basically what it is that you want to do, right? Draw your own conclusions, do your own research. But I said, yeah, at the end of that 21 days, I'll decide what I want to do. Do I want to just hold it and wait a little longer and see if something positive happens? If we turn the trend around, do I just want to hold it until maybe a bull market starts? Do I want to say, all right, you had a crazy moment, just redelegate it and keep building it and let it sit and do its thing? Or do I want to take it and I mean, I don't know, what is it, like 2,500, $3,000, something like that I have, do I want to take it and cash it out, put it into something that I think has more potential right now, right? I still don't know, but I am leaning a certain way. Every day that goes by and every time I jump on Twitter and every time I, Agora, reading these comments or whatever, it is pushing me a certain way. Now, that way is, and I think you're reading it, right? That way is that, that way is to probably just kind of leave LUNC, and put it into something else, right? Right now, that's the way that I'm leaning. Did the L1 task force fail? No, I don't think that they failed. Did the community fail? I don't know that the community failed. And I've got complaints about all of it. I've got complaints about the community. I've got complaints about individuals. I've got complaints even about the way that some of the ways and things that the L1 task force has done, right? But I can't say that what's going on right now or my perceived failure of this chain can be blamed on anyone in particular. I blame it on the system as it is, the way it's set up. And again, this is just my opinion. I already know that a lot of you disagree with this, right? I think that decentralization, total 100% decentralization, having this project, this token, a coin, whatever you want to have, that is totally run by the community, right? And POS, right? Proof of stake. So governance. That system with no focal point, no leadership, no definite path. It's an experiment, right? I think the experiment failed. I think it's failed. I think we can conclusively say that, right? There's no way, and it's just human nature. So what happened, right? We know, all right, Do Kwon at the beginning of this, right? We had the DPEG, Do Kwon forked, and did his V2, left Terra Classic, he changed the name to Lunk, which, disrespectful, right? To name his new thing Luna, and that'll be Lunk, right? Whatever, Luna Classic. And he kind of just left it there, right? So it left a vacuum, okay? No leadership. He and TFL, they obviously always led the whole thing, right? You had governance, you had this, you had that, but still, they pushed things in the direction that it should go. And to a degree, they did a really good job because they built the price up to where they built it up, right? Even though ultimately it failed. But when he did that, when he left it, it left open a vacuum. And I've said this before, right, in several different videos, so excuse me for repeating myself, but this is really how I feel about it. When you leave that kind of vacuum, you've got a bunch of different individuals, groups, factions it's broken into, who all say, here's my opportunity to rush in and seize power. Maybe our group, can turn this thing around, gain some type of fame, make some sort of money, get the accolades, get the praise, make a name for ourselves, right? You've got a lot of different groups or even individuals who want to do that. And the Terra Rebels came right out the gate, right? Came right out the gate. Everybody jumped on board. They're going to fix it. Rah, rah, rah. Go, 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 right? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we saw the demise and how that kind of shook out and broke down. Different people started leaving, right? Rexy left. Ed left. Zaradar left. A bunch of people left before that. And so once governance was established, and there was no need really even for them anymore, because that's basically what they were trying to do. Now you got this. Now you really got this vacuum. Okay, well, Terra Rebels is out. They screwed themselves. Who's going to do it now, right? And you had the Vegases, and you had whatever, right? We know the history, but it's basically what happened, and it's still what's happening. So some of the people that we really trusted, Zaradar and Ed, put together this team, and the community as a whole said, yeah, sure, we trust those guys. Those are good guys. They know what they're doing. Let's go with them. Let's do that. And then this L1 task force came to be. Got a mandate, did the first quarter, but you still got all those other people who are saying, we can do it better. Why are they getting all the attention? Why do they have all the love? If this thing, if they succeed, boy, what a feather in their cap, right? They're going to be able to write their ticket. Maybe we want to be able to do that. How do we get in there? How do I get in there? How do I get them out and spin it so that I've got the attention now and that I can do this or we can do this, right? And that's basically what is happening. And that is what I blame for the demise of this chain as I see it, right? So Zaradar has said that there is no negotiation, right? People were saying, well, this one's going to fail, so maybe they'll come back with something more reasonable. Maybe they'll listen to the demands or the requests of the community and come back with something else, and then we'll vote on that. And Zaradar said, nope, right? And I think even Lumpburn Army's like, no, right? All the drama, all the attacks, all the different things like that, it's not worth it, right? It's not worth it. So this thing will fail. They will probably be gone. They might be here, in some capacity, kind of like when Alex kind of disappeared, but still around a little bit, right? They might be around in that kind of capacity, maybe help out some friends that they know to do this or that, right? But they'll be gone. And then maybe another group will rise. Maybe it's TCV. Maybe it's somebody on Vegas's camp. Maybe it's, I don't know who it's going to be, right? But if another team rises and the community says, okay, all right, let's get behind them. They're going to fix it. They're going to, all the same things all over again, right? It's just a cycle. The same thing's going to happen because all the people who are bitching and moaning right now about the L1 team and just accusing them of all these things and trying to find all this slander and evidence against them, if they come into power, there's going to be another group behind them that's going to do the same thing to them. Because it is human nature, I guess, to want control. We see people like SBF making all this money, right? These kids. It's greed, it's power, it's so many different things. And a fully decentralized system leaves it open for all that. And that's all you're ever going to get. So I am very hard leaning toward basically just probably selling all my LUNC and putting it into something else because I don't see a path where this thing kind of succeeds anymore. I don't see that path anymore. If I were to take my Doctor Strange time stone, right, and go forward in time and view different realities or different time frames, is there a way that it could happen? There might be a couple ways, right? Just a random scenario, right? You've got Binance with how much that they're holding, which is a large amount, right? What if, hypothetically, what if Binance made a bunch of different validators, right? You wouldn't even know that it was Binance, right? All of a sudden, all these different validators pop up, validator nodes pop up, right? And then they took their vast supply and they kind of self-delegated, right? Again, I haven't done the math, but could they ask yourself this question? I'm asking this question. Tell me if this is possible, right? Could they delegate so much that it doesn't matter who else votes, what other validators feel, whatever, right? If they spread it out, because even if we set a limit, right, on how much voting power any validator has, they could have multiple validators and just self-delegate and control all those validators and vote however they want to vote, make any vote go the way that they want to go, and essentially just take over the chain, right? If they did that, would piss a lot of people off, because there goes your whole, oh, we're a decentralized thing. Now you've got somebody straight up in control. I don't know that it would be a bad thing, because honestly, it might be one of the only ways that I see this thing going anywhere at all at this point, right? I mean, they could pay off the USTC debt, right, if they wanted to. There's a lot of different things that could happen. But any of the things that could happen that I feel like could potentially rescue this chain or give it hope again involve a centralized leadership, whatever you want to call it, council, senate, team, whatever, right? Somebody in charge. And so if I do sell all my LUNC and put it into something else, if I ever see that happen, if I see somebody come in and actually take control, someone who knows what they're absolutely doing and gets rid of this whole system of, let's vote for this proposal, nah, that sucks, so we'll vote it down next week, and then, this idea and that idea and going back and forth and spinning in circles, if I see that go away and somebody take control and say, no, this is the path we're going down, whether you want to or not, this is what we're doing with it, maybe I'll come back in. But until then, I just don't see it. I don't see it, right? So if you think I'm wrong, and if you see another way that it could happen, leave that comment in the comment section, because I would love to hear that perspective. I truly, truly would. Because it really disappoints me that this is where I am right now. I thought that this had a lot of potential. I thought that it was something that I was going to do pretty well on, I think I've lost my hope on it. And again, it's not because this was before we even found out. So I don't even want to hear it, right? Because I know what you're saying. This was before we even knew that the L1 team was not going to get on for Q2. Because like I said, I've got like 9, 10, 11 days maybe at the most left to undelegate. I made this decision a little while ago, assuming, to be honest with you, that they were going to get passed in for Q2. So it's not about that. It's just about everything that's going on. Everybody's different ideas. And nobody being able to come to a consensus. And if we can't come to a consensus, we cannot move forward. Period. Right? Got this law firm. Well, I'll tell you this quick about this law firm. I was approached. I had asked, right? And then somebody got back to me and said, yeah, you know what? I think that we can set up a live chat with you and, somebody from this law firm, right? Horizons Law. And, but there was a caveat. And Horizons Law said, send us all the questions ahead of time so that we can review them and really have put together good answers for you, If you have ever watched any interview that I have ever done on this channel, you know that ain't how it goes here, right? And I wasn't going to change it. I'm not going to change it. I sometimes I have maybe 3 or 4 questions in my head going in because I know that those questions are going to lead into other questions. I never really come into these things with a list of questions to ask. It's a conversation. And through those conversations, everybody feels comfortable and we get more information that way. I don't do canned interviews. And I'm not going to give somebody questions ahead of time so they can figure out the best way to spin it and the best way to say it. I just want to have a conversation with you, right? Talk. Just let us know. Just answer whatever questions we have, whatever questions I come up with, the community comes up with. Just answer it, right? If everything's cool and everything's straight and you know what you're doing, you should be able to just answer the questions. That's how I feel about it. So I suggested that. I said, no, I'm not going to do it that way. If that's what they want is a canned interview, then they're going to need to find someone else to do that interview. I refuse to do it that way. I would love to chat with them. And you know I don't attack anybody, right? Nor do I allow anybody to be attacked. This isn't, sorry, but this isn't a Twitter space, right? But I'm not going to do a planned, canned thing. So we'll see what happens with that. If they come back, I told them, listen, watch some of my videos, right? If you like the way I do it, let's do it. If you don't like it, then that's fine. So I'm waiting on that, and we'll see what's going to happen. I've got a bunch of questions for them still, even whether I'm still in Lunk or not in Lunk. I still have a bunch of questions for them in my head. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure where it's going to go. All right. I am rambling at this point. There's just some thoughts in my head that I wanted to get out to you. I'm seeing that this is about 22 minutes long now, and I think that's long enough. So, again, leave comments in the comment section. And, if you liked anything here, like the video for me, hit the little like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. If, because I'm not really going to be in Lunk anymore, you want to unsubscribe, go right ahead and do that too, right? All you're ever going to get here from me is honesty. Now, I could change my mind tomorrow. I don't know, but this is how I'm feeling right now. All right, y'all. I will talk to y'all later. Ciao.